Let's talk about co-writing and who counts as a co-writer on a song and who doesn't count as a co-writer on a song. That can be a little tricky. Also, let's talk about how do you split up the percentages. The people who are more seasoned and have done a lot more co-writes they just accept the fact that you do an even split. An even split, you don't think about who contributed how much. If you're trying to split up the writing side of things unevenly, that's either just an unusual circumstance or you just haven't written enough songs yet. You haven't co-written enough. But you tend to split it up evenly and you just figure that it'll all even out in the end across your body of work. And if you co-write with somebody and they feel like someone who's not bringing a lot to the table, you just don't co-write with them anymore. So that's kind of how you fix that if it feels uneven to you. Now, in terms of who counts as a co-writer, there are people that are career songwriters who their opinion is anyone who is in the room for the session, for the writing session, anyone who is in the room while the song is being written counts as a co-writer because, as some people say, their energy was in the mix. Whether they contributed one phrase or, just one melodic idea or whether they did the bulk of the writing, everyone who was in the room for the creative process counts as a songwriter. That is one opinion of a very seasoned songwriter that I know. The tricky part can be when not everybody's in the room together during the time of creation. But if someone has contributed either lyrics or melody or chord changes, they are for sure one of the co-writers. Technically, I am a co-writer on so many of my student songs. Now, I know that they did the bulk of the work. They go away, they sweat over it, and then they bring it back to me, and then I give them feedback and I offer suggestions. Technically, my input makes me a co-writer. Now, I don't ask them for that, and they don't offer it. I don't ask them for that because I'm being paid. I'm being paid to meet with them, and it's just, it's more important to have a trusting relationship with my students. But by definition, when they bring me a song and I make suggestions and those suggestions get used and the song gets changed, I am a co-writer. Now, a lot of times you see songs that get on the charts and they have like 8 or 12 co-writers listed, and I'm not going to get into all of the business stuff of how that happens, but I promise you not all of those people contributed to the actual composition, the bones of the composition of the song. They're not legitimately co-writers. They're on there for other business reasons. But for somebody who's not on a record label or part of the big industry machine, co-writers are people who materially contribute to the bones of the composition, lyrics, melody, chords, rhythms. Now, who doesn't count? Well, say you have your song finished. Okay, it is done. Your song is done. You hire a producer. They're going to help you demo your song. And they take it upon themselves without being asked to change a chord for you or something like that. They're not a co-writer. You didn't ask them to do that. They just did it on their own. That's an arrangement decision, but they should not be entitled to be a co-writer. Or, here's another tricky one. You hire a player to come in and they come up with a really cool riff. Say that riff is so awesome and it becomes like one of the instrumental hooks of your song. We're in a gray area here. Technically, the song was written. Pretty Woman by Roy Orbison, that bass line, that bass player came up with that at the session. He was not one of the co-writers, but that bass line is the thing about that song that made it a hit. He probably should have been credited as a co-writer. Now, I'm not saying my opinion is that these people should not be credited as co-writers, but I'm saying technically they are not. They're hired to play, and they're coming up with parts. Now, if you want to be super generous and you feel like the player contributed something that was just so amazing that you want to give them credit as a co-writer, that's, in the goodness of your heart. I'm not going to tell you not to do that. But if the song has been finished, the song has been finished, and those players are technically not co-writers. Hopefully this helps you navigate the territory of putting down who is and who is not a co-writer. But don't let a producer bully you into making them a co-writer if they did not materially contribute to the lyrics, melody, chords, or rhythms of your song, especially if you didn't ask them to.